Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you are well. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm so happy to have you guys here. Well, what we are here for today, it's the second episode, and I have with me Muhammad Wasif Jalal, who is a student of urban planning. He is studying in UMT, and he's almost completing his thesis. He's going to be a graduate very soon, inshallah. He's very passionate being about the city, about his field, and what he's passionate about the skills. It's about the making maps, learning about history, politics, society, and cities, and he aspires to play a role model. Aspires to be a role model in making the home more lively and more able to be livable. More livable. He wants people to own their city and to make changes in their city, take responsibility for it, and truly feel a sense of belong for it. Huge aspirations, and that's one of the reasons why he is part of the Peacemakers Pakistani organization. He's associated with us for quite some time, and I'm very happy to have him with me. So, in today's episode, what we are going to discuss is that Wasak is going to introduce us to the topics that are going to be discussed in the series further by different speakers. But today he's going to introduce us the different identities of Lahore, the different elements or characteristics that add to the identity of Lahore, the megacity, and just a general idea of what and his perspective of how he sees, and my perspective as well along the way, that how we see these factors add to the city and its essence, and how it deserves to be a culture capital. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. So do share your feedback, and I hope it's a learning session for you all. Thank you for being here. Let's welcome Vasif for the presentation. Assalamualaikum Vasif, how are you and how's life going?
Walaikum Salam, Miss Asba. I am good and life is going well. I'm going to end my degree really soon. So
Awesome,
that's going on.
awesome. Well, good luck for your thesis and for your defense. And yes, I'm very happy that we are having young professionals like you who are invested in the resourceful use of our country's asset. So I'm looking forward to what you have to share today about Lahore, our city. So go ahead and share with us.
All right, I'll share the screen. Just a second. All right, can you see the presentation?
Yes, I can.
All right, let's begin. So Lahore is a mega city. So let's explore multiple identities of the city of Lahore. I live in the city and it has been my home for over 10 years. So I, at, at some level, feel connected with the city. So, what is an identity of a city? Cities are basically formed as expressions of some spiritual, some material, social, or political expressions. And if we bring changes in these conditions, then each and every city will have a unique identity. And with time, this identity gradually shifts and changes. So the identity of the city basically reflects the values of those who are living in the city. So as it is a lived experience in space and time, it basically represents, it shows the true urban fabric, the identity of the city. So Lahore is a unique city with a unique history. And if we go back 80 years, this city sat at the center of the mighty province of Punjab, which got partitioned in 1947. So it was geographically central to the region and had the political, it was seat of power for hundreds of years. So therefore it became the capital city of the province of Punjab. The formally it is the capital city of the one of the four provinces of Punjab. Now let's hear from different people living in Lahore, what they feel the identity of the city is.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम। अब्दुल इज़ हेयर। आई एम फ्राम बलूचिस्तान। तो यहाँ पे एक सवाल किया गया कि लाहौर की आइडेंटिटी क्या है। तो मेरे ख्याल से लाहौर की आइडेंटिटी इसका एजुकेशन सिस्टम और यहाँ का फ़न तामीर है, जो कि लोग दूर दूर से देखने आते हैं और लोग यहाँ पे एजुकेशन हासिल करने आते हैं। थैंक यू।
ऑफ होप, उम्मीदों का शहर। लोग हर जगह से यहाँ आते हैं एजुकेशनल और वर्किंग पर्पस।
Identity of Lahore lies in its old historical buildings, the old Lahore in particular. Secondly, street food. Third, its pathetic traffic.
मेरे ख्याल से लाहौर की शिनाख्त बागों का शहर है, जिसे सिटी ऑफ
So
गार्डन्स
already
भी
we
कहते
can
हैं।
gather that there is so much to this topic from all the walks of life, how they picture the city of Lahore and how they form the identity, the idea of what Lahore is. So everyone has a unique understanding of their own city. So we cannot say that one identity is dominant over the other identity. The actual picture is that the identity of Lahore is the mosaic or mosaicing of all these individual identities that I'm going to share moving forward in the presentation.
Okay, Wasif, I would like to appreciate you here for including the voices of different people around you, and it's a very interesting way of sharing it as well. So awesome for that. Yes, move ahead.
It was important. So
Uh,
also the first thing that we hear growing up is that Lahore is supposedly the cultural capital of Pakistan. What this means is that the city is very dynamic and it is growing by 400,000 people per year, and it has a huge regional significance. It is attracting people from all over the country, and this mighty rise in population brings in challenges for the administration and how the city must run, how the services will be provided, and generally to make sense of the chaos of the city. So this is what you see in the city regularly in certain parts of the city. And the population explosion has been a recent phenomena, and we can see that in year 2000 the population was just 5.25 million, and today it is over 12.5 million. So this is the administration has this challenge to deal with, and let's see how they take this challenge up. Now, the city, these two pictures represent two ideas of the city. First, on the left is the Minar Pakistan. This was the site where in 1940 the various political leaders gathered and they came up with resolution to uh, to basically unite in the struggle for independence for the Muslims of India. And to the right we see this commercial hub of Lahore, and we can see that despite it being business center or business district, there is some creativity, there is some arts to it that that shows the true nature of a Lahori, that they are not at all just working robots, but they also experience and express what they feel in artistic expressions. Apart from that, the city is also a major center of learning. Of basically, there are many streams and schools of thoughts within Islam that have their headquarters over here, from Tablighi Markaz, Faizan Medina to Jamia Ashrafia. So the people from all over the region, South Asian region, come here for learning and excelling in religious knowledge. And apart from that, when we talk on diversity, the city has already lost some of its cosmopolitan nature in partition, but a new cosmopolitanism is emerging or has emerged in last 50 years. We can see it in the architecture. We can see it in the communities that frequently visit the city, from the Baha'i temple in the colonial Lahore to the center of regional Catholicism. There are multiple ethnic groups, people ranging from Central Asia to South India. Everyone, we can find a person speaking English. So most importantly, in the city of Lahore, there is a growing middle class. In other cities of Punjab, we see that there is no middle class. People from middle class move towards the city of Lahore, and there is a growing middle class over here. There is a population that is politically aware and hardworking. So this is unique to the city, not unique to this city of this scale, but unique to the city in this region. And then finally, there is diversity in the dynamic nature of the city and what people of the city are motivated towards. So there are people of different ethnic backgrounds who find each other and then they celebrate their culture together. There is this progressive leftist group that is mushrooming in recent years. Then there is Tehrike Labaik, or religious political parties that also are also very dominant in the city. And then there are the mainstream political parties. We see them daily in the gathering in different parts of Lahore with their different aspirations and political goals. This picture is the railway station of Lahore. It is called station, and you can see the number of tracks and the in the commercial activity it represents. So the city basically is a commercial center or an industrial hub, and all railway highway networks are centered uh, around Lahore. So you can see in this map, the rail lines, the motorways, and the highways, they all lead to the city of Lahore. So you can see the economic significance of the city in this map. Now, another important identity which people say that Lahore has is that Lahore is a city of gardens, and you cannot deny it when you are in different parts of the city. Not all city can be considered as the city of gardens. The colonial era Lahore is the one that can be rightly called the city of gardens. You can see the huge Bagh-e-Jannah, the Jilani Park, and then there is vast areas of agriculture areas within the confines of Punjab University that are green. And then there are other huge parks as well in this particular area. This is showing a certain part of Lahore which is not the old Lahore and neither the contemporary expanding Johor Town, Bahria Town, or that part of Lahore. Those two parts are devoid of parks, but this part at the center, at the heart of the city, is full of huge parks. Now, we can imagine what level of peace and serenity can be observed in when we are even in the proximity of these parks, not just with when we are in these parks. The city has always been the seat of imperial power, and it radiates the sense of majesty. It radiates the sense of magnificence. Since 16th century, Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar, when he moved his capital from Fatehpur Sikri, Lahore started gaining that that significance. Before 16th century, the significance of Lahore was uh, not as much. The other neighboring towns were more significant than Lahore before 16th century, but since 16th century, Lahore has been politically center of in this region, and it moved down towards other Mughal rulers, down to the Prince Dara Shikoh, who was the patron of the city. He built temples, mosques, and mausoleums in the city. And then there was this local Punjabi ruler after the fall of Mughal Empire. who also made Lahore his capital. And then Ranjit Singh, when he entered Lahore from his missile, he was declared Maharaja. So, in a sense, that when he was conquering missiles, Ranjit Singh, when he was conquering missiles, he was called Raja of this missile, that missile. But when he entered Lahore, he proclaimed himself as Maharaja of Punjab. And then John and Henry Lawrence of the British East India Company came to Lahore, and they set their camp here because it was already a seat of power. And then the title of Takht-e Lahore, the throne of Lahore, is still in use when people from other parts of the country say that they are people in Lahore are privileged because they are it is the capital city, so they use Takht-e Lahore as a term when they are against the idea of Lahore being too dominant in politics, or gaining a major share of revenue. So this is the canal. The people 50 years ago might not see this as the identity of Lahore, part of the identity of Lahore, but people today see this as the central to the identity of Lahore. This canal road, this canal stems from River Ravi. It comes from Ravi. It is Lahore branch canal, and it is decorated every season whenever there is a day of celebration, day of national importance, or whenever there is the season of spring. The canal becomes a beautifully lit attraction. So the canal runs throughout the city, and it is important part of the horse culture. In summers, you can see people swimming in it, and when you are greeted by the canal, and on this point there is Bab-e-Lahore, the gate of Lahore, which was recently constructed. So this you enter into Lahore formally, and the canal welcomes you. So as I've already said, that in summers you can see that Lahoris gather around canal. There are picnic spots. Young boys jump from higher places into the canal, and you can see people selling, vendors selling fruits, and families also with women with their feet in the water. So it is generally festive in different times of the year. It is illuminated on Basant, Eid, Independence Day, Pakistan Day, and the whole month of, or whole the period of Jashn Bahara, Spring Festival. It is, for me, one of the most important when we think of Lahore, when we think of the identity of the city. You cannot have Lahore without the canal. Now, moving towards more built uh, things. So Lahore, like other South Asian cities, has a similar urban form, but it has a unique urbanity and cityscape. You can relate it to the cities of Delhi, Lucknow, or this belt, but Lahore also has this unique urban landscape within the confines of this old walled city. This is the square in front of Masjid Wazir Khan, which was recently renovated, and rehabilitation works made this area a more appealing and attractive area, and it became a major source of revenue for the authority. And they spent it wisely, and then they are planning to rehabilitate more parts of the world city so that tourism can be promoted. And this area, the dilapidated situation of this part of the city must be dealt with. Acha. Other other than the walled city of Lahore, we have two towns near the city of Old Lahore. Now they are part of the city of Lahore. These are the towns of Ichra and Masang, which used to be two separate villages outside of the walled city. They are now within the urbanity of the city. They also are a unique to their they are uniquely remembered as, and people from outside, when they come to Lahore, they do visit these areas, and they are right now full of commercial activity and hubs of they are the commercial hubs of multiple commodities. And then when we move a bit away from this old part, we enter into the colonial or post-colonial part of the city, which includes the cantonment board, the Kent area, the model town. The model town was built 100 years ago, and Johor town was also built 50 years ago. These are very different in their form, in their structure. They feel like a separate city when you compare it with the old walled city of Lahore or Ichra or Mazan, because in this picture you can see this huge partition walls or walls of privacy, huge lots, and less activity on the public streets as compared to the previous one. It is interesting to note that before before the arrival of British, the plot size was never the mark of wealth. People of wealth, of nobility, also lived in smaller or equal sized plots, but showed their wealth in different means. You can see a donkey driven cart, a bike. This is a typical scape in the contemporary Lahore. So the sky is not as clear as it should be. So we see huge expansion in all parts of Lahore, and this build structure is as you can see in this picture. This is Bahria town, and you can see the Grand Bahria town's mosque in the background. The city is expanding fast, and this is what it looks like as it is expanding. Now, I would I would ask Ms. Asba if you can also comment on the architecture. When we see Lahore as the city of architectural splendor, as one of its identity, you being an architect, you can comment far better than me on this. So let's hear it from you as well.
Okay, so by far we have discussed about the master plan or the major landmarks of the city in terms of master plan. For example, the gardens, the green areas. Then we had discussed about the expansion and the urban built or the built areas, the black and white. You know, we discussed things in black and white in the urban mapping. Maybe I should say that urban mapping. So we have discussed that, and I would love to see if I comment on the previous statement in the on the previous slides, then I would love to see gardens and canal being utilized to its full potential and to be explored as and to be owned as the identity of Lahore to its complete potential and generate revenue as well. Then about the architectural splendor of Lahore. Well, Lahore, while growing up, what I have remembered as the identity, or what we hear mostly about the identity, is used has used to be the buildings. But after growing up, after learning more things on our own, after exploring urban design field of apart from architecture, I realized that there are more things to identity. It's not just the dresses or the stuff like the material stuff or just the buildings, but it's also in their intangible characters as well. And there are the master plan things or the the gardens and things like that as well. So about the architecture, I would just love to quote what you have just said previously that people in the Mughal era were more focused on living on building or creating the buildings and showing off their wealth through that because they wanted to live through the time through some built structures or through showing their, showing their power through the built architecture or built buildings, through buildings. And this is what we have seen so far. And of course, in the during the colonial times, there were also the structures, but they were mostly used for institutions, which was their focus and um, their focus and their cultural impact. Like they were focused on the institutions, on how to run the systems. This was what they were about. Mughals were more about living spaces and palaces and stuff like that, and mosques, the lifestyle things. They weren't focused on the systems or the institutions. Colonial architecture was focused on institutions, mostly GPO, school, university, school, etc. And now we see, now I'm not sure what we are more focused on, because I think that we are focused on just creating a remark that we are different. We are not following any elements from any part of the world. We are just being different, and in that difference, I just see something that I can't relate to. And yes, what I see being built most and being and what reflects the power of people are usually the most. And I don't like that. But yeah, it's good that they are investing in their most, but it shouldn't be a part of, competition or something like that. That's my take. And of course, we have a lot of things to be explored in terms of architecture, architectural elements and architecture assets. And I hope and I wish that we are focused on preserving those areas and creating more spaces that are open to people, and yet they are being utilized very well. So, say what you have to share now.
Definitely, I agree, and I would like to ponder upon what identity can we express through our architectural designs moving forward, and what we are really doing. I don't think we are looking for identity or something reflects it reflects us in architecture. I think we are just trying to save money when instead of uh, building something with expression, with something is expressive, be it the government, be it the state, or be it any person. So the idea of building magnificent structures is lost in time, and must be recovered, or we should be patrons of all sorts of art, expressive arts. Even architecture, it is also something important. It must not be looked down upon as a waste of money, but it should be patronized by the state, by the people. So this is
Exactly.
something.
Exactly, because buildings are actually the factors or the elements that last long, that last uh, time. It's called the timeless structures, because like if you see the Washahi Mosque and if you see Wazir Khan Mosque, the buildings that were timeless, we call them timeless buildings because they were created with a purpose, and they were maintained with time as well, and they were easy to maintain as well, because the local material were used, and the materials that were sustainable to the climate of the city. And these factors have to be considered while constructing buildings, and they have to have some goal in their mind, that they are going to create an impact. Only then we can achieve something. If we are not having something as a goal, then how can we achieve it? If we are not focused on creating an identity or creating a landmark, then how can we create or how can we come up with something like that? And landmark has to be something that can be owned by a city and its inhabitants, as as an onset, as an intentionally creating these areas or these cities or these structures is a must to come up with some design that is going to be owned by the people itself. That's something I believe.
I do agree, and I used to believe that we can't achieve this, or there is no hope. Maybe some better administration or better generation will come and take this forward. But when I look around, I see people and I see goals of different departments, and when they come up with great work, for example the Walled City Lahore Authority, or even the recently, if you have visited the Jain Mandir, they have made it a public square over there, and they have actively pursued the placemaking activity that we both share as a goal. So it brings hope when we see that the state is doing looking after and preserving architectural, and but we haven't seen something new that we want to see, that just new landmarks are created with something higher in mind rather than just profits. So this is what is important. You can see in this picture, this is the preservation of the Shahi Hammam by World City Lahore Authority. It is the royal bath, and I've heard that they had warm water in it and cold water in it according to the season. So that's good. So I think I could add one thing about this picture. So this picture shows the Minare Pakistan. This picture shows you the Bachai Masjid and Gurdwara right next to it. So these are three unique items of identity:
Yeah,
religion,
that
and
can be seen together.
yes, they are shown in the same picture. So it reflects what I am trying to convey, that we have these unique identities which we have to carry forward in such a manner that it does not one does not dominates the other, or each of them are expressed equally and are expressed fully and appreciated fully. So, why everyone comes to Lahore? And it is primarily because education. You meet anyone in the city, in this big city, they come for employment, they come for opportunity, and they come for education. And rightly so. Lahore, the city of Lahore offers a huge opportunity to everyone in the region, from all walks of life. So in this weird map of Lahore, we can see that educational institutions are clustered around the old colonial era Lahore, and some are also in the contemporary parts of Lahore or the later parts of Lahore, and these are closer to the commercial centers or areas of business, and this is all connected with strong transportation linkages, major roads which are mostly signal free now, and the other pub- public transportation corridors, for example the metro bus and the orange line, and more are coming. So you can see that these institutions are also areas where people come together, interact and exchange and grow. The people in the city are more aware about the political rights, about the social rights, as compared to from where they came from. So they take this back to the city, to their own respective localities, and then the idea grows that Lahore teaches other cities how to become how to become better citizens. And then there is the reach of the city is far beyond the borders of Lahore. People from Afghanistan come to bazaars of Lahore for shopping, for wholesale and other commercial activities. And we cannot end this presentation without mentioning Lahore and its unique identity as food lovers. So I cannot spend enough time on this part of the presentation, because it if we dive into it, we cannot get out in time. So there are unique habas of Lahore, places that are famous, places that are less famous, and people from other cities tend to say that Lahoris, when they go to other cities, they don't usually find food, and they tend to say that the better food was in our own city, and we can't find it in our new homes, in our new cities. So this is something maybe unique to Lahore, maybe unique to cities of this scale. And moving forward, Lahore sits right between Delhi and Kabul, on this road to to Kabul or on the road to Delhi, Lahore is right in the middle of it. And it is this in piece of information is important because whenever an invading army went, it went through Lahore and it destroyed it multiple times throughout history, be it Nadir Shah, Timur, or Awan King Turani. So it was attacked, besieged, and destroyed, and then repopulated multiple times throughout the history. So at every moment of destruction and regrowth or repopulation, there was cultural diffusion. Which, apart from war and destruction, it being in the middle of Delhi and Kabul makes the city's culture very unique, and it has elements of both of the cities or both of the regions to be more clear. There is a strong cultural diffusion that used to exist strongly before in the novel. If you have read the novel Kim by uh, I've forgotten the name of the author. You can see that there are Tibetan monks in Lahore. There are Central Asian horse traders in Lahore, and then South Indians as well. So there was this cultural diffusion that was possible because of the open borders of past world. And then moving forward, how we can forget the river the Ravi that gave birth to the city of Lahore, and it is significant in many different ways. So first of all, the first significance is the material basis. Lahore exists because Ravi flows. This is common knowledge. Because of the rivers seasonal flooding, it was possible to practice agriculture over there. And Lahore exists as a mega city today because it was a seat of imperial power, exerting power and influence over the region. So this is the second thing, that Lahore continues to exist. Cities in the throughout the history have tendency to lose its cohesion and then wither away into the history. So Lahore, being continuously in existent, was only because it was the seat of imperial power, and it had people who influenced power over the entire region. So the oldest authentic mention of Lahore is over 1100 years ago in a document by an Arab traveler. And before that, we have this Hindu epic of there's a Hindu epic called Ramayana, which was actually composed on the banks of River Ravi, possibly in Lahore. And it mentions the city as inherited by the son of Rama and Sita. And the name of the Lahore comes from the name of the sun. And there is still fortress of Lahore, Lahore Fort. There exists the temple of Law, called the Lava Temple, and it is after Law or Lava. The name of the Lahore comes from Lahore, city of Law. Moving forward, I've mentioned religion, and then uh, I should proceed by also mentioning the religious and spiritual significance of the Ravi River and how it comes in play with the identity of Lahore. So the river is flowing and it gives life. It means that there is the essence of fertility within the river, as well as the flood, which brings destruction. So it also preserves life, it destroys life, and river is one. And this means that people began to associate river with God, and how God is meant to preserve and destroy. And maybe God, and they came to this opinion that God preserves life and destroys life by the means of this river. So sages, saints began meditating within the proximity or inside the river. There is particularly significant spiritual saint called Madholal Hussain. He was recorded to meditate within the river Ravi, as well as Sikh gurus. They also were recorded to meditate in Ravi River. Uh, This picture shows Ravi River in at morning time, at time of sunrise. I've been to Ravi at sunrise, and all we see is a sea of fog. You cannot see the other bank. The river and the mist looks magnificent, and it evokes a sense of splendor and greatness. And then gradually, when the sun comes up, the river becomes more and more clear, and you begin to see the other bank. And in this imagery was used in the world of politics. Before the partition, there was a particular political event called Purna Swaraj, it means complete or total freedom. And the river became the Ravi River, the river of Lahore, became the instigator or originator of the idea of independence. And there was uh, event that was meant to be significant was recorded over here. So the what that event was, people, nationalist leaders who wanted freedom went to the river Ravi, and they raised the flag of independence from the British Empire at the time of dawn in the river. So this was meant to be a symbolic event. So also Lahore resolution, as I've previously mentioned, was signed in Lahore because Lahore was always significant politically, and then it became the seat of Pakistan's liberation movement, Pakistan's movement for independence. It was at the banks of Ravi that people had to cross in order to reach to the safety of their homeland, be it India or be it Pakistan. The partition wreaked havoc in the region, and people had to migrate to their homeland, and their sacrifice is still remembered today. So, as I've mentioned, Madhulal, there are multiple patron saints of Lahore, and they have been changing throughout the decades. But since independence, the patron saint of Lahore is considered Tata Ali Hujwiri, and his shrine is close to Old City. So therefore, the city is also called Data Di Nagri, city of Data. There is Shah Hussain, Shah Jamal, Madholal, Mia Mir, Wasif Ali Wasif, who was a recent saint, uh, and then there's Bibi Pak Daman. Uh, a people of Shia faith also frequent this shrine. So there are hundreds and thousands of shrines in the city, and people from all walks of life or faiths frequently visit the shrines for their spiritual significance. Moving on, the identity of the city of Lahore as the city of literature, and interestingly, United Nations network of creative cities also declared Lahore as a city of literature. So this is something that is interesting that happened very recently. So, being city of literature, Lahore is home to Urdu and Punjabi literature, as in the fields of religious fields, Islamic, Hindu, Sufi, all sorts of genre are printed, written, shared, expressed over here. And then they range from Persian to English to Balochi to Pashto, and as well as Saraiki literature, because people from all identity backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, and linguistic backgrounds tend to have formed circles in Lahore, and they produce wonderful pieces of literature, from ranging from revolutionary literature to popular to political arts, cinema, drama, fiction, non-fiction, progressive, leftist, all sorts of things that you can imagine for a city of this scale. And now we are on towards international collaborations as being part of the Creative Cities Network of United Nations. This is the Jinnah Library in Baqi Jinnah, and every year we host Lahore Literary Festival which brings intellectuals and literary persons and general public every year. It and makes the event time very festive in Lahore. People from India and other countries also visit Lahore Literary Festival. So it is something that is bringing connecting city globally and destroying any animosity or bringing people closer. So this is Lahore. This is what I think Lahore is. Each and every chapter of this presentation deserves a detailed understanding, because I don't feel that I have done justice at all with any one thing discussed, because each of them deserves presentations of their own. So that's all. Thank you.
Awesome, Wasif. Thank you so much for your time and for putting your energy into bringing all of it together. And the good news for you is that we are going to be exploring all of these topics individually with different speakers as well. Because definitely we can't share one in one go with one speaker, and it's going to be a burden on you as well if we have done that. But you have explained it all so well, and it was an it was so lovely to see that a Lahore from different perspective, from Lahore from different ideas, Lahore as our city as a great space for different dialogues and for discussing things like I'm an architect and you are urban planner, you are for the you are from the city and region planning department, CRP student, and different professionals are discussing on are coming to common ground just because for their love for their city, and it was amazing. I really appreciate what you have done, and thank you so much. And I would love to mention you here as the first person to agree to be a speaker on this series. So thank you so much for taking the risk and for being so supportive so far.
Thank you as well, that you provided this opportunity so that I could express what I feel for the city, and hopefully, I get hopeful. I am hopeful that we are on a good track, and there is still hope in the city for that there
Definitely.
are people who want better things, and they want city to grow.
Definitely,
So
definitely. We are coming for our city. We are here to save our city. Thank you so much.
yeah,
Take care of yourself, and we'll get back. I'll get back to you later. Allah
thank you.
Hafiz.
Okay, I love this.